Gently.
How's this, Squidward?
It's beautiful.
Boy, this formula of releasing videos is sure paying off, eh? Anyhow, we got past the winter season with a new batch of 6 separate variants to try and get our greedy hands on. But what refers to the previous trimester, how do they fare currently? On average, not that great. Most of them have remained on the irrelevant side, and only Bombshell gets ever brought up in anything. But hey, I may have a culprit for that one. Regardless, in other news, by the end of March, we should in theory finally be able to pull the variants from July to September 2023. Took them long enough. Cosmic Rebel comes across as a second attempt on Triple Threat's gimmick, only more and less involved, if that makes any sense. The Deathmark only serves as the enabler for the actual interesting part, but nevertheless is a great addition for any in particular. The main catch being it cannot be inflicted from a projectile hit. As for the main attraction, critical hits grant a short 5-second immunity and 1-second invincibility while the opponent suffers from Deathmark. Immediately, this should translate to anyone to invest in crit rate as much as possible, in order to exploit the hell out of invincibility. But its applications are mostly limited to reflect damage opponents, such as Painwheel and Immoral Fiber. And the former case makes it pretty clear it's not a safe pathway. You can always rely on certain Deathmark supports, like Dream Demon or Perfect Dark. And obviously Evergreen Evil can contribute as well. Still, she's a very niche variant in regards to the invincibility, but at the very least she can hit hard. Provided you can say that for most Annies, but at least this one's ability is consistent.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Apex Complex is the best friend for those that seek to cheese prize fights and even parallel realms. A single dash attack is all it takes for her to gain haste and inflict curse, both 15 seconds long. She cements herself as an excellent buff controller on par with Unholy Host, and with Fuqua's movement speed, she handles fast as well. Not only that, but Martial Outlaw matches perfectly with her. Since Apex supplies her own haste and curse immediately, not even ICU Valentines or Black Dahlias are safe from her. Additionally, while you benefit from haste nearby an opponent, they lose 5% health and are inflicted with a 10-second wither, letting her keep opponents in check even further. Her major downside is a built-in threshold, where she cannot generate haste and curse against enemies below 35% health. In most cases, this isn't a problem. But there may be the odd case scenario where this is bothersome. Needless to say, when all you need to prevent buffs is a dinky low kick, it's no wonder Apex Complex is that coveted. Indomitable immediately stole the spotlight. Her low attack might be a detractor, but don't let it fool you. She's still ridiculously powerful. She features Timeless Deadeye and Heal Block when opponents fall below 80% health, already setting a heavy limit on their defensive capabilities. Even more aggressive would be the Buff Steal and Miasma game while on the opponent's side on the field, and with active Deadeye. So not only does she have great buff control, but cheap damage as well for the occasional long shot. Her downside is being very susceptible to bursts, since Deadeye is lost on knockdown, and usually you have 3 instances where you can get it, so you need to read the enemy's moves carefully, otherwise you may squander your run. Currently a common combination would be Indomitable alongside Maid of Honor and Rose Tinted. That way any health losses are compensated, Thorns Unflinching and Autoblock become much less of a threat, and of course the constant buff removal. In many aspects, Indomitable is well equipped to deal with any incoming threats. A must-have for all Rift degenerates.
Go cry to your mummy!
Seraph Soldier might be the perfect comparison that this game has taken the Yu-Gi-Oh route of designing things, because good heavens, that's a lengthy paragraph. It comes across as overwhelming, but it's much more simple in execution. Dealing a hit that causes over 10% damage grants a 10-second enrage, and while benefiting from it, critical hits recover 25% of the damage dealt, which is a rare godsend for critical heavy characters. This allows for a combination of steady damage and high health in a symbiotic relationship, although obviously outside enrage sources also help. Not only that, fire variants gradually increase their attack while on the field, further contributing to the previously mentioned cycle. She's an outstanding support because of it, and can help critical oriented variants maintain high health points in rifts. The one point of confusion would be whether to commit to support or offense on Seraph. I'd roll with offense, and if need be, slot in a forbidden procedure. Essentially, she's the answer to what if Oh My was actually good, and much like her, she's not very common, which is hilarious and fucked up.
Let's go practice medicine.
At long last, the actual missing half of Unholy Host has shown its face. Buffer Zone, as the statement implies, is capable of removing all buffs and inflicting hex, although she has the obvious disadvantage of not having a constant health drain or excessive buff controlling curse. Her attack is also on the average side, but to compensate, she disables tag ends alongside the hex, which can make it easier to lock in whoever you want to finish off. She's efficient enough against Death Wish, and on the occasion Immoral Fiber. Furthermore, her second ability is a very interesting double package, having beam and energy attacks grant her a 10-second barrier and unflinching. On paper that can work against constant health loss, and it's an excellent combination alongside Rockstar. That being said, its odds aren't necessarily the highest, but I guess it compensates for the abundance of hits Rogue of Fortune has. The strangest part is being able to transfer her buffs to a teammate, but not the other way around. The most you can achieve with these pseudo inner pieces is some temporary health coverage and not much more. Buffer Zone is okay for a few rounds and has the occasional really good niche, arguably a hexer on the same level as Red Velvet, but with some extra maintenance.
So you shut up, bitch. Why don't you come suck my balls?
Much like the Shrek films, Ogre Achiever feels like a parody of another pre-existing variant, this being Standout. Obviously, he puts his own spin into the formula. Instead of gaining meter, he receives immunity, and as per usual with these sorts of variants, it's practical, but only works at its best against buff-heavy opponents. Otherwise, he finds himself struggling. During hide mode, each blockbuster grants enrage and recovers 10% health. A notable spam of these is required to make the most out of the recovery, but having some form of agency around it helps out. Not to mention, increasing Ogre's firepower is pretty good, compensating for his meager offense. That being said, would I advise Ogre over Standout? Not really. They both cover different enough fields, and they both feel useful in their own right, but Standout has access to the better kit, which is a major plus. All in all usable, but replaceable by the old reliables.
Ogres are like onions. They stink?
Yes.